Oi, you! Yeah, you! Get out from under that rock. Did you realize that episode 4 was today revealed? And a little bit of information has come out with it, including, of course, a trailer. So we're going to sit down, we're going to run through it, see what we can pick at. Now, honestly, the trailer's not as good as the previous ones this season. And I don't mean as that as some huge criticism. Frankly, the trailers this season have been really good. I guess I'm just a bit disappointed to see that the devs decided to shake things up a bit when they really didn't need to. But a star to guide us, episode 4 of this season of Living World has just been revealed. And remember, guys, as you learn about this, as we roll in on Tuesday, it's released less than a week away as of me uploading this, that they have also revealed very recently season 4 is going directly into season 5. So how this bridges the narrative will be very interesting. Some of us may have even expected this to be a finale, but it's not being marketed as such, and I'm pretty sure it won't be. So, yeah, let's see what they've given to us. A star to guide us. Already a really cool title for the release, by the way, as it keys into more of this Elder Dragon linking to stars in the sky stuff that we've always enjoyed. And really, it seems, as you get from the trailer here, Aurene is the main focus. Let's jump in.
Her name is Aurene.
A scion of Glint chose you as her champion.
Now where could she be?
You set about preparing her
Any progress with Aurene?
to someday face the Elder Dragons together
Give it all you've got!
and restore balance to the world.
Do you feel the weight of those words grow heavier with every passing moment?
Aurene has the potential to not only destroy Kralkatorrik, but also replace it.
I hope you fare better, my sister. I hope you feel full of purpose.
Aurene has had a premonition, a vision of the future, of multiple futures.
Do not let them, or yourself, forget what you are.
How about it, Aurene? Are we ready?
I know it's the end. Stick with it. They change it up a little bit. All right, okay, there you go. So that's the end of the trailer. So, yeah, let's, I guess, spend a minute rambling about the quality of it. It is very different to what we've seen earlier in the season. You know, way less artistic, way less flashy and snappy. You'll also notice that what they've done here is they've not just lingered on the story a bunch, but right at the end, they've given us this screen that tells us all the new things that are coming. Now, the devs do have an adjoining blog post as well, going into a bit more detail about this, and I would assume over the next few hours and days, a lot more information's coming out. So I'll do a separate production specifically on these, and it's not that the various aspects of these don't appear in the trailer, because I think certain bits do, particularly from this last one, but yeah, the devs kind of just banded it all to the end. Other trailers, we actually got to see the new legendary, which you can see the name of here, but not its classification, Zequatl. So that's a bit of a disappointment. I will nonetheless cover all of it, obviously. It's just not necessarily in this frame by frame. The other thing, I guess, from our standpoint as geeks that want to go dive into this, is a lot of what this trailer contains, hopefully I can get an example for you, particularly early on, and maybe it's forgivable, is old footage. You know, this is way back from season 3 now, way back in those heady days 1 year ago. This is where Aurene actually hatched, right? So that's a little bit of a disappointment, but we can go through it, and certainly there's some cool stuff in the dialogue as well. It's really focused on this baby dragon. And remember, guys, the story is all about, really, we're going to take out the elder dragons and try to replace them with her. The question is she good enough? Is she gonna be good the whole time? Is she gonna be on our side? Let's look at the story of what happened to her brother, Vlast, who you hear multiple times in the voiceover of this trailer, and guess as to what's coming up. So let's jump on in. The initial shots here, as I mentioned, kind of this nice tentative music creeping in, which I've heard 1,000 times already, but still is very good for trailers, I think. We get to see Aureen's egg as it thrashes around. You know, funnily, I don't remember the cutscene back then looking this good. I don't remember the egg gyrating this much and vibrating so much. Maybe I just need to go back and play Season 3. But it looks damn cool. We get the ArenaNet Path of Fire flavored logo there. And, of course, here she is hatching in her cutest form. We get the commander now, male human speaking. Her name is Aureen, he says. Obviously, we know this, and he's going to talk a bit about his experience with her over the past while.
A scion of Glint chose you as her champion.
Now, where could she be?
So here, this is the player character, remember? For Path of Fire, they made him look Alolan. I'm suddenly finding myself really excited about next X-Pack, or maybe season, where all of the trailers and media will probably change this dude into, you know, like a Canthan or a Char or something. I think that's going to be great. But what we're actually looking at here, guys, obviously is Taria, and this is the instance where we're playing hide and seek with her and, like, bonding with her a bit. We're looking, and we even say, now, where could she be? I really like this in the trailer. I know it's old stuff and I can only pick at little things to comment on here, but Taria is so integral to the story right now. The Exalted are theoretically so integral to the story. These are like recent things, and it's weird to realize that in truth Path of Fire only accounts and people who have been doing the regular content have had no reason to come back here. So at least having an opportunity to show it off in the trailers, it's kind of nice, like when Ratanovus would appear in trailers very frequently in Season 3, even when content wasn't taking us there. Though then there it frequently was, obviously. So
You set about preparing her
Any progress with Aureen?
to someday face the Elder Dragon.
Okay, so we get a bit of voiceover there. This is all new now, I think, about preparing her to take out the Elder Dragons. The devs really want everyone to be clear about that. But the shot we get now is new. Those who've been watching really closely may already know what this is. But this is quite clearly one of the new features for the release, the Sun's Refuge. And it's a kind of awesome shot as it tracks backwards, showing a lot of different dynamic aspects of this bit of the game. So those out of the loop, they have already revealed that this patch will give us something called the Sun's Refuge. It's quite clearly the Guild Wars 1 Sunspear Sanctuary, and it's kind of like a home instance. To what degree, whether it will usurp a home instance, be better than one, or less of one, we don't know just yet. But it's basically like a prominent location you can return to and build up as a part of the story, and hopefully as well optional progression and grind and things for us to do even after the first few hours of the patch coming out, something some of the other releases recently have struggled with. So it's the Sun's Refuge. It will be an underground cave. Once upon a time was a temple to the goddess Melandru. I doubt that godly side of things will have much to do with it anymore, considering we can be 5 playable races. And the question is, you know, how cool can this thing be? How much can change? Last time we saw this, very recently, was just a single screenshot, obviously not a trailer, and it was a screenshot of the environment with a ton of these things up here, the cobwebs. And as this shot opens, the cobwebs are visible. Now, I speculated before, when Sun's Refuge was announced, that look, it's very likely they'll borrow Guildhall technology to dynamically update the instance. Calling it Guildhall Tech is probably a bit of a misnomer. They use it in a lot of places. But they'll update the instance as we make progress, as we gain faction maybe, or gold, or karma, or whatever the sinks are. We'll actually start doing this place up. And I guess straight away that we could probably get rid of the cobwebs, right? It makes sense. You'll also notice on the trailer, it starts very dark. I don't know whether this is just post-processing that they've put actually in editing. But I'm wondering if it's supposed to show that when you first get here, the room is actually pretty dark too. Because dynamic light is something ArenaNet are capable of doing to really good degrees in the game. They just don't play with it much. If you go back to some of the Living World Season 1 instances, like the Dead End Bar in Divinity's Reach, it has these beautiful shadows at play on the wall. I want to see the devs do more things like that. And the idea that we go to this dank, horrible cave full of cobwebs, I like the idea that it's dark too, until we get in and we ignite some torches, some beacons, some magical powers and things to bring a bit of a glow back. So I don't know, again, whether it's just editing, but as we track back, watch how the light comes in. Watch how everything starts to build up. This here looked like it wasn't full of energy at the start, and now it is, and I wonder if that's another dynamic object. Obviously, I'll take a second here to point out Aureen is sitting here. We'll get back to her in a second. As we continue putting back, though, watch, okay? Loads of stuff starts changing. The cobwebs do indeed disappear. The entire back wall feels like it pushes out, and we can actually spend quite a while very carefully watching this as it changes, all right? We get that banner appear. Let's go back just a tiny bit here. So, no banner. Cobwebs leave. We go a couple of frames forwards. You start to get the banners here. Aureen sustains. NPCs start appearing as well. So if you look over at this bench here, this was empty originally. And as we pull, the bench appears, the flags appears, people appear, this guy appears, all of these. Now that's not, and even this dude here is in the middle of transitioning in. This isn't necessarily that special or incredible. Even the Guild Wars 1 version of the Sunspear Sanctuary, or the Command Post as it technically was able to add and remove NPCs around. But it's cool to see that in Guild Wars 2 we've got a similar thing going on as well now. So yeah, you got the flags. I'm not sure there's too much more to point out that we see different. But you also obviously do also have Aurene. Now, because this is going to be like a home instance, or just an instance, okay? What I'm guessing is happening here is the devs are happy to put crucial NPCs, like Aurene, sitting around. You wouldn't find Aurene so stationary in the open world. I mean, she does drop down, like, phased and nuke things in recent updates, which is very cool. But here I actually think we'll be able to walk over and interact with her. And I wonder if the Sun's Refuge has come out of the devs realizing they need to do this. If you look back at Heart of Thorns, and especially the Bitterfrost Frontier release, you'll remember they did that bonus mini instance where you could play ball and stuff with Aurene. And that was really good for, like, bonding with this character. For me, I'm a bit of a incredulous nerd in a lot of ways, and I don't really feel much for Aurene. But being able to play with her and interact with her a lot might actually get me on board and enthusiastic about this storyline with her if everything's going to really become so important to do with her. So I wonder if the devs saw that with Bitterfrost and thought that would be cool to have back. Let's do it again, a Season 4 version. And I wonder if that's going to be a part of what we'll be able to do here. The other side of this is I wonder if they can make Aurene grow and stuff too. Because this character moves very fast. You know, it was just a baby recently. It was an egg, and then it was a baby, and then it was adolescent, and then last we saw it, it had just eaten and consumed a ton of magic from Palawa. I'm expecting it to grow rapidly, because it has to grow rapidly to be a weapon against Kralkatorrik. And it's going to take, you know, forever unless the devs accelerate in some way. So I wonder if what this means is, depending on how far we go in the story, every time we return to Sun's Refuge, Aurene will be here getting bigger and bigger and bigger until, you know, she fills some vast space. That's kind of one of the nice applications, I think, of it anyway. The rest of it, I'm not too sure. Is this like a Mystic Forge or something? You will notice that at the end of the trailer, if we skip to it here, you will notice at the end of the trailer, they do talk about a new raid called the Mythrite Gambit, and they've actually revealed that is in the Mystic Forge. But I don't know whether they'd add another forge for us here in our new home instance style thing, or even if it will be one. So, yeah, it just at least demonstrates in the trailer a lot of the dynamic objects. We pulled back. You'll also notice many of these characters, they don't look particularly recognizable to me as main characters, so just generic NPCs. I think that's a member of the Order of Shadows over there, though, and why that might be interesting is because a lot of us are expecting a betrayal at the hands of the Order of Shadows eventually. They are a very weird faction in that it seems like they could turn against us quite quickly, and maybe this demonstrates that that won't happen in this release, or even indeed anytime soon. But we do have some other interesting allies in some upcoming shots I'll show you guys soon as well. So here we're back in Maguma, and basically the voiceover is talking about dragons. And I guess the devs just needed some depiction of a dragon. And they didn't want to go back to Zaitan. They tend to avoid Zaitan like the plague in these trailers, I feel. They didn't go to Morgemoth, especially because our representations of Morgemoth are a bit waffly. They've just gone with a Wyvern here. Is there going to be Heart of Thorns content? I mean, this is clearly Verdant Brink, right? Is there or Auric Basin, or Tangled Depths, maybe. Is there going to be Heart of Thorns content in this patch? Very, very, very unlikely. I think they just showed this to demonstrate a point in the trailer. I'll eat my hat if I'm wrong. There's another one as well very quickly. Once the camera moves through the fire here, we do get another Wyvern. It's one looking pretty cool, actually. What design of Wyvern is this? Very, very badass looking dude. Look at these kind of creepy ass hands here. But yeah, I think this is some of the most filler stuff you will find in this trailer. This next shot's new. What we're looking at here is a red version of what can I only guess is like Timey's Golem. Now, I must admit that episode 2 of this season, the one where we went to the Sandswept Isles and we had, you know, all the stormy areas and the Inquest stuff, that is one map that I'm still pretty foggy on all the new varieties of golems and things that were added because it really expanded a lot. But I'm pretty sure this type of golem, let's just go back here and see its window. I'm pretty sure that wasn't a thing we saw the Inquest doing. If anything, it looks like Scruffy 2.0, doesn't it? Maybe a slight redesign or recolor on that. So is Timey in that? Did the Inquest get their hands on it? Is it to do with our new Asura allies? I just don't know, guys. You'll also see that there's kind of a spooky-looking NPC back there standing around. What more to point out, I guess this is going to be some kind of boss fight probably upcoming, because obviously this big orange ring signals to us it's going to be an opponent of ours. Maybe someone's been stealing from Timey, right? I'm not sure what the pickups will be. Likely to break a break bar or something. One of the things that the most recent release did very well was every time there was, like, especially in the last instance, if there was a big CC mechanic, they often dropped stuff on the floor for you to get through it, even if you didn't do any good build craft. And that this might be the devs doing something similar here again. As to the room it's in, I mean, what can we say? It looks like a cave somewhere. Sun's Refuge, maybe? These girders are quite interesting, quite Char-like, even aerodrome-ish. We have very little context as to what it all means. Next, we get a shot of the new map, which, again, the trailer's kind of annoying at the end. It's the Jahai Bluffs. So, this is really the prominent bit a lot of you guys will have been waiting for in this video. Where are we? We're in Corner again. And believe me, that is not a downside. That is not to this patch's detriment. The coolest stuff in Corner, we haven't visited yet. I know that last release was called the Domain of Corner, but guys, it was such an insignificant slice of that region. Gandara was the most significant part of it, and I guess the devs tried to do their best by Gandara. But believe me, if we go to other areas of Corner, there's much more fertile ground. There's the old Sunspear Sanctuary / Sun's Refuge itself, obviously. But there's where Palawa Joko was entombed for hundreds of years. Listen, last release, spoilers, we may have defeated Palawa Joko, but being able to return to Corner again immediately, maybe snoop around his tomb, actually enter it. It was hinted at in the previous game, but we didn't actually go into it. Move inside, we could learn more about his time in his captivity there. Guild Wars 2 has been terrible at talking about that chapter of Joko's life so far. So if we get more exposition and understanding of him, even posthumously, that's brilliant. And I think the devs, if they do that well with Joko by having us return to Corner here, will prove themselves kind of masters of that stuff. They did it very well with Last. The end of the most recent release as well, Long Live the Lich, had that kind of interesting propaganda of Joko's after he died as well that unlocked in a special area of the map. This could be great, guys. Going back to Corner immediately allows us to get the fallout of his death very well, because that is another thing that Long Live the Lich kind of struggled with. We defeat Joko right at the end. Aurene eats him for breakfast or dinner. And then what? Well, we don't know because the map's frozen in time. But Corner is this, like, aggressively, hideously oppressed place by Joko. I want to see the citizens rejoice or not know what to do with their newfound freedom or try to fill that power vacuum. I really want to see that. I want to see even that that's what the rest of the season can touch on, especially this episode. So this is the best place we could have gone. Even if some of those other locales are more exciting, believe me, and we want to go to our tropical island paradise in the south of Istan. Eventually, guys, we got a whole season 5 to look forward to now as well. As for the region itself, well, I've tended to find in these trailer analyses, it's kind of pointless to just pick at where we're looking at. It's just a pretty section, right? These trees look gorgeous, but I don't think they're new assets, are they? They're very reminiscent of Nightfall environments, I'll give you that. But also, we have to notice here, elemental, air elemental sparks, and over here, branded stuff. And remember, there is a big scar of branded right across the north of Corner, so I'd expect us to be shifted up there quite a bit. The size of this map's actually kind of weird to think about. It might not be a perfect rectangle if they're trying to get us to a lot of the good locations and also the Sunspear Sanctuary. Seeing this on the world map will be really kind of cool. But yeah, this is one of the only looks on the trailer at it, really. Just, you know, in plain English. And not in the background. So, one final shot here. This one being of the branded. So, what are we looking at exactly? Probably branded stuff in the background. It almost looks like a bit of a frosty tree up here, doesn't it? But 3 opponents. This is a branded Forgotten, it seems. Quite snaky, right? Unless I'm misreading that terribly. But these 2 are really kind of interesting, right? These, I know they look a lot like Margonites. A lot of us want to see Margonites. They're branded Awakened, guys. So, a human becomes awakened, it lives its undeath, and then eventually falls to Kralkatorrik. So, it's a really weird mix. The amount of transformations what was once a human here has gone through is kind of cool to think about. They're definitely branded awakened. Now, you might think, oh, that's really hype. I haven't seen those before. You actually have, if you've been playing this season. Branded awakened are really interesting in that right at the start of Season 4, with that big attack on Amnoon, there were branded awakened, but as far as I remember, they were only there when we got to explore the first map, the second map, the third, all the other story, we haven't seen them come back. They were NPCs that were just there at the start of the season, and now we find them here again. So I wonder whether this will key into a general map story behind the notion of, right, Joko's fallen, the Awakened are scattering, they're running all over the place, they're not well equipped any longer, their command structures are falling apart, and Kralkatorrik, who's just flown in as well near the area, is claiming them nice and quickly, and he's making advances while they're sort of in a scrabble. Because as bad as Joko was and his forces were, at least to some extent, I have to assume they were able to defend themselves and keep Kralkatorrik at bay, and now that there is no Joko anymore, they're probably fodder. And so on this map, maybe we get more Cornin stuff, but it's like 50% Cornin, we saw the last shot, and 50% branded and dangerous branded, alright? You take a human, you make it stronger as an Awakened, and then you take an Awakened, you make it stronger as a branded. Quite excited to see how that goes.
Restore balance to the world.
So, the voiceover's talking about restoring balance to the world. We get a cut. We move on. Now, this is a pretty fascinating shot. I might be wrong about what I'm looking at here, but I believe we're seeing a mix of old elements being put together in a way we hadn't seen before. And I doubt they would have made this just for the trailer. So if I'm going to be totally wrong about anything on this video, this is the moment. It looks to me like we are back in Glint's lair. It looks like this is where, you know, even Path of Fire had a bit of story there. Season 2 had a bit of story there, where we went recently and we destroyed the spear that was capable of taking out Krauk, and we broke it. And Ritlock said, you're going to regret this later, right? But while we're in here, we got this guy. This is Vlast, guys. Living, breathing, happy, comfortable Vlast. Vlast is going to appear in the voiceover in the trailer a lot here, and we're going to remember Vlast, and we're going to think about what he said, how angry he got, how bitter he got, and how ultimately unsuitable he was as a replacement. And, you know, he was trying to communicate with Aurene. He was leaving these crystal shards for her when we were collecting those in the expansion itself. So I think Vlast will play a big role in this release, and we may get some kind of flashback where he went to his mother's lair after she died to sort of look around, and that is kind of a missing piece of the Path of Fire story that I would be thrilled to see. And maybe we only get it in cutscene form, maybe we get it from, you know, another Vulcan mind meld with Aurene as we've been doing, and we actually start getting these visions. This would be a really cool way for the devs to start telling extra story, by the way, that's going on outside of the commander's immediate field of vision. And yeah, so I think it's Glint's lair, that's what I'm guessing. And the thing in the middle, this kind of power, this energy, maybe this is to do with Aurene's egg. Remember how the trailer opened? We saw the egg, and now here we've got sort of this thing in the middle. There is still a bit of a mystery as to how the master, who gave it to the Master of Whispers, and how we went from there. So this could be that piece of the puzzle, and that's going to be really good, guys, because that is an important one that is messy as all hell. Season 2 into HOT and forwards. This is a bridge that could be built, and I am thrilled for it. Or I'm wrong, and we've already seen this, and it's somewhere else, and I'm just an idiot.
Do you feel the weight of those words grow heavier with every passing moment?
So here we hear in the voiceover, do you hear the weight of those words grow heavier? And I know I'm suggesting we might see a bit more Vlast in this patch, which would be very cool. But that voiceover is not new. That's actually old stuff. If you remember, there's a point in Path of Fire where you can optionally collect more of Vlast's scattered crystals, and we get into his mindset, his psychology a bit. That line is pulled straight from there. In fact, I think it's quite sinister. The line after what he just said, do you feel the weight of those words, blah, blah, blah. I think the end of one of these lines in the trailer, he basically says, I just find myself angry all the time. And that's what we're meant to be wondering as we watch the trailer now, guys. This is just a shot of Aurene. She looks like in some generic branded area, possibly the Johai Bluffs. But the question is she gonna just get angry? Who is she? What is her true nature? Angry in Kralkatorrik? Or peaceful and empathetic and prophetic as well, as we'll see in a second. The trailer will go into, like Glint. Which is it? And I guess we as the commander, her best buddy, we've got to guide her on that.
Aurene has the potential to not only destroy Kralkatorrik, but also replace it.
So this shot, the commander's waffling in the background about Aurene replacing Kralkatorrik. This is the final shot of Path of Fire. If you remember that very exciting one, we did all the analysis of the dragon going towards the sunset. So which cardinal direction was that? And then the attack on Amnoon. It's nice to see that they've repurposed it here.
But also replace it.
Here we just get Aurene flying. I mean, we get so little of the ground. I couldn't tell you what map this is. The POF maps and the Season 4 maps are so enormous. I'm sure it could be in any of them. Jahai Bluffs, let's say.
I hope you fare better, my sister. I hope you feel full of purpose.
There, that's the line, and we don't get it in the trailer, but in-game, after he says, I hope you feel full of purpose, he says, I just feel angry all the time. We get more of Aurene flying. I'm just going to go out on a limb. Maybe these are new animations we weren't supposed to have seen yet, or, you know, they're going to be special in this patch. Look at how her head feels slightly disconnected. It's all really nice. It feels very Griffinish to me, guys. I'm pretty sure the game is trying to accelerate her growth to a point where we can really comfortably ride her, even on the biggest of Norn. And they've got to be building to some kind of epic conclusion where we ride her onto Kralkatorrik and then attack him on his back or something, Zora Magdaros style, right? That's going to be so good. But here we see her land. We get more of the area. You get one of these giant branded walls. Now, we know from Path of Fire itself with the Amnoon, not the Amnoon Oasis, sorry, the third map, the Ellen Riverlands, where we get to go back to Augury Rock, that there were these massive sheets of branded walls that could be constructed in front of Augury Rock until the meta pushed to a certain point. Then it broke, you could go in, take out the Forgotten inside, and learn about the Flameseeker prophecies. This is the same thing, guys. I mean, it's got to be the same texture, right? And it's crossing a chasm of some kind. What I think we might be looking at is some kind of dynamic event at least, but it's so big, maybe meta event, where certain areas of the map are locked off until we push certain things and we can press through. I've always enjoyed metas that did stuff like that, always, and I'd be looking forward to something good in Living World since the original map is stand meta-wise, so we'll see what the devs go for there. But yeah, I'm going to say that this is a dynamic thing we break through or something every now and then. Some ruins around, not much to pick out or say. Aurene, basically looking the same as we last saw her. I guess maybe these white crystals are new and grown a bit. Maybe? I don't know. I don't pay enough attention to her design. But she would have been charged up from Joko a bit. Here is quite interesting because this is actually Desolation architecture. This is... or I should say Awakened architecture here. And we might be at the very northern reaches of the Jahai Bluffs here, where it borders on the Desolation, which would take us right across a Brand Scar and suggest a very big map we're about to get. You'll notice she's also standing on Brand. So yeah, maybe we're standing on it looking north right now. That'd be kind of interesting. But again, there's like this idea, this story that's being told, that branding, attacking, and overtaking what was once Awakened territory. So there she is, she roars. Here we get some pretty important information from Blish.
Arena's had a premonition, a vision of the future, of multiple futures.
Okay. Aurene has had a premonition of the future of multiple futures. So first of all, where's he stood? I don't know, in a cave? Sunspear Sanctuary, perhaps? Not much more. But now we get like this crystally effect, and we're looking at flashes of things. Now, is this crystally effect just here for the trailer? Perhaps. I wonder, though, whether, again, these will be visions we get as we link our minds with her. But look, so this is one vision of her future, I get, that she's seen, where there's a ton of, branded Awakened wandering around and they've been attacked. This is obviously going to be a part of Jahai Bluffs, right? Here's another one where you'll notice they've got that sepia tone there, which they usually use to represent past in-game. You know, when you go to Old Lion's Arch, for example, it will throw this tone on here. I think the idea is, will this actually come to pass? Who are the characters that we can see here wandering around? We've got Tuchar and, what is that, Sylvari? With an archer with some trees. Am I supposed to look really deeply at this and wonder, oh, is this one of the multiple futures we may end up in? But it is an interesting direction that the story seems to be going in, that they're suggesting Tyrion's fate is not locked in stone, right? Prophecy and stuff has had a major role to play throughout this franchise's history, but taking a backseat in the more recent years, it could be coming to the forefront again now that we have Aurene with her, as the scion of Glint. Glint, who was prophetic. And I've been wondering when and if finally the story would start touching on these elements of her character. Well, it looks like it's this release, guys. We get a long tunnel here. I must confess, I spent a while on shots like this looking to see if there would be any breakable beetle walls, which I'm really hoping for. But hey, at least riding the beetle through there might be fun. I haven't managed to detect any. And of course, the commander here standing. And I guess obviously what the trailer's trying to do is, which future will you be affected by, guys?
Multiple futures.
So back to the crew. This is perhaps the shot, if I remember rightly, with an unlikely ally. So little Casimir, so little Marjorie in the story recently. But we do have our new 2 Asura friends. No Kanak in this shot either, actually.
Do not let them or yourself forget what you are.
So, that bit of the trailer, do not let them or yourself forget what you are, immediately followed by a shot with the dragon tearing Joko's face off. What is she? Dangerous is maybe what they're trying to scare us with. So, what's interesting though is the shot themselves. Here we've got a room a very nice interior, honestly. Lots of scrolls, reminds me a bit of Cormier's Lost Library. Is this what the Sanctuary can eventually be built to? But pay attention to the NPCs in the background, guys. Look at this, alright? An Awakened. An allied Awakened. This guy is hanging here, chill, with Aurene nearby and these other guys. This means a lot, I think. What this basically shows, I think, is that there will be a bit of power vacuum story here. And what we will find is that some Awakened aren't so bad and Joko's gone, but they will be more benevolent and try to create more equality between undeath and life in Ilona. That we're not going to snap our fingers, kill Joko, and it's all going to be done, and all the Awakened are gone, and everyone lives happily forever after. These people, these societies, they will have to live together from now on, but perhaps in a more egalitarian sense, right? So I'm pretty sure that's what's going on here. How can we have a scene where there's just an Awakened standing around without them also explaining, you know, this guy's not bad? If you remember also at the end of the last release, we had, who was it, Aranko maybe? Who said, no, I thought it was pretty cool what you did, Commander. I liked that I got that huge victory against Balthazar. I don't mind that you stole Joko's army. You know, some of the Awakened aren't all that bad. And yeah, so we'll get one here. That also can mean a lot for recurring faces like Talcora from the Griffin stuff, like Kos from episode 1. Do I really care to see those guys become main characters? No, not particularly. But I like the thought that they'll have futures managing and governing the regrowth of Ilona after a disaster, which amazingly is basically how we left them at the end of Guild Wars 1 as well. It'd be funny to see a Guild Wars 3 where they're still around and another thing's corrupted them and we say that. So, right towards the last bits of the trailer here now. As we continue along, another shot of the big cave we were looking at before. Aurene standing here. We're the one standing next to her. We're the one communicating with her. I can just imagine this being a moment where we come up, we press F, and this is where we get a vision or something. Or is she actually looking for our help? Is she looking for our shoulder to lean on? Do we really have that much wisdom to offer her? I guess it depends how dark of a personal story route you picked way back when. So yeah, we move forward. The cool incubation kit for the beetle, Petey. And everyone's thoughts echoing in her mind. Aurene, 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 Aurene. I think that why this is happening in the trailer, the constant Aurenes, is remember, she's not just prophetic, but she's a telepath as well. She can read our thoughts. And I think this is supposed to be showing that she realizes everyone's fixated on her, that she's the big deal, and perhaps it overwhelms her.
How about it, Aurene? Are we ready?
Are we ready, or is she going to screw us over and get everything ruined? There you go, a star to guide us. She is the star to guide us. They were very clever with their episode names a while ago, so I hope they continue to be. Don't tune out just yet, though, guys. Obviously, release date September 18th. I will point out that this trailer came really late. Like, it was unlisted on YouTube for ages. Some third-party websites frickin' leaked it until finally the devs dropped it. I mean, literally less than a week away. It's coming on the 18th, this Tuesday. But afterwards, we get our splash of all the various features. And then... And remember, I'll do an individual video on these in a second. This. So, there really hasn't been much suggestion as to how the map will play. I suppose this could be a big boss in the story. But to me, it looks like kind of another elemental creature, right? That I would guess is probably an open world thing. I don't know. Or maybe it'll be a big boss in the actual patch. You know, a just mindless boss that we get to struggle against for a while. But I think what they're really trying to show here, outside of, you know, the creature's design, is that the Brandstorm is amping up. That Kralkatorrik is amping up. That this place is dangerous. Whether it's in the map or in the story, I don't know, but it looks really threatening. Even you got some of these big orange tails down here. And let me think, we've seen a fire elemental, you know, that appears in the Ton story, in the Persil story, it appears at the Thormanova reactor. We've also seen the earth elementals, Shaymore, human characters see it, you find it at the Modnir Olgoth. Is there a giant air elemental anywhere in the game? Because maybe that would be what this category is, right? Because it's all about lightning and stuff and storms in the brand. Or it'll be like, you know, branded elemental. I don't know. It looks good though, doesn't it? And I'm curious to see how we actually take out a tornado. Kind of a funny thought, that main age-old comparison of the Elder Dragons being compared and contrasted to natural disasters like hurricanes and stuff. And here we literally see a tornado or something we have to fight. Well, I guess time will tell. There you go, guys. A star to guide us. There's going to be a lot in this release, particularly because, yeah, there's a new raid. So hold on to your hats. We will try and dive through as much information as possible. Let me know if you think I missed anything on this trailer analysis, something you picked up. I'd love to hear it. And I'll fill you in on more details after just my first look as the week goes along. Cheers all. Hope you enjoyed. And I'll see you soon. Very soon.